Hey guys, it's Sam here, and I don't really know what this video is going to be titled, but there's a couple of things that I wanted to discuss, and it's about Liverpool. It's about pretty much, this new era that we're entering in, but it's also about the I wouldn't say attack, but the criticism of Florian Wirtz and some of pretty much Liverpool's summer transfer business of last season. So where I want to start is because they're all going to interlock with each other. So where I want to start is I want to just talk about Sunday's result, because I took the draw. I celebrated the last minute penalty like it was a winner, because it's just what happens when you score a last minute equaliser. It's gonna feel like a winner, especially when you've pretty much convinced yourself you're gonna lose the game. You're like, the 5 minutes are up, we've lost. But then we get a penalty, and then you score it, and it's like this just big relief of like, we didn't lose, and it feels like a win in that moment, but it's only a point, but a point is still better than none, especially when you're convincing yourself and you're so close to the end that you were gonna lose the game. Over the course of the 90 minutes, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. It was in that kind of mixed bag of, kind of like Jurgen Klopp's first game, when we drew with Spurs 0-0. We were like, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. So we saw signs where we thought, there's possibility here. I saw that on Sunday. I saw signs and glimpses of what Iraola is trying to do. We looked a little bit more energetic. We looked a little bit more like we actually wanted to get forward rather than keeping the ball. But the same issues were happening as they have done for many, many years, where we get to the edge of the box and we try and walk it in. We keep the ball too long. There is space and we're not using it. We're taking too many touches. We're passing when we should be shooting. These issues are not... They weren't an Arne Slot issue. They weren't even a Jurgen Klopp issue. They weren't even a Brendan Rodgers issue. This has been going on for many, 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 many years. Doesn't matter who's playing for Liverpool. For some reason, we try and walk the ball in. I don't know why. There must be something ingrained in Liverpool's DNA where we are trying to walk the ball into the net. We are trying to do too much. We have players that just want to keep the ball and do too much. You've got space that is not being used. And when players have space and have a great chance to shoot, they go and pass. And this is also what really, really annoyed me on Sunday, was that both goals came from Ryan Gravenberch passing the ball when he should be shooting. The first one, he's got so much space. No one's really around him. The Newcastle defenders have backed off. Just hit the fucking ball. Hit it. What's the worst that can happen? But no, he goes to try and pass it, doesn't get anywhere near the player, it gets intercepted easily, down the other end and scores. The second one, again, he's brought it down, just fucking hit the ball. But instead he tries to flick it round to, I think it was Gakpo, or Isak, I'm not sure who it was. Again, gets intercepted, down the other end, and they score. Twice he did it, twice they scored from it, and I haven't really seen anyone pick that up. A lot of people have just been, they've not really talked about that enough. That it came from Gravenberch twice, trying to pass when he should just be hitting the ball. It frustrated me because, one, it happened in the first half and then it's happened again in the second half, just as we've equalised as well. And it's like, how are you not learning? But then it was also, the goal literally came from Cody Gakpo finally fucking just hitting it. Like, to be fair to him, he was the only one that was hitting it. Everyone else was trying to walk it in. Again, Gakpo was trying to walk it in at times, but at least he was shooting also. No one else was. So he finally just went, fuck it, I've got the space, hit the ball, goes in the net. You've just seen us do it. So I know Gravenberch is not a winger or an attacker like Gakpo is, but you've literally seen it. Just hit it. Put your laces through it, just hit the fucking ball. But no, he tries to pass it, and again, they go down the other end and score. And it's like, how have you not learnt from the first half when you did the exact same thing? It really annoyed me. And then, you know, about the hour mark I think it was, we're 2-1 down, and Iriola makes the changes. And I was saying it should be Gravenberch because he's given away 2 goals. It's his fault that we've conceded twice because he's tried to pass when he should be shooting. You know? So it should have been him, but then it was Florian Wirtz. And I was like, I don't know about that. Was I happy with Wirtz's performance? Not necessarily. I thought he had a great chance in the first half that was saved brilliantly by the Newcastle keeper. Apart from that, that was about all he did in the attacking sense. He tracked back pretty well. He did the basics pretty well. But again, that's not what he's there for. He's an attacking midfielder. You're there to create, assist and score. He didn't really do that, so I understand now why Iriola took him off. Because he wasn't offering much as an attacking sense. When you're the attacking midfielder, that's a little bit problematic. But at the time, I was like, I don't know about that. It should be Gravenberch because it was McAllister coming on. But then, But like I said, now the dust has settled, I understand it because, again, he wasn't offering much. But this leads into the criticism part. I don't necessarily agree with the criticism of Florian Wirtz. This isn't me being a deluded fan, or this isn't me trying to be too optimistic. I get we're not seeing enough of Florian Wirtz that we've been seeing for Germany and that we saw at Leverkusen. I understand that fully. But you do also have to understand that the man has come, the man is young. He's still very, very young. I think he's like 22 or 23. That's almost nothing, especially in football. So, he's still young. He's still got a lot of growing to do. He's lived his entire life in Germany. He's moved to a new country, playing under a manager that didn't know how to use him. That manager has now gone. He's now got to get used to another new manager. And he's on the back of not having the best debut season. And the whole eyes are on him. And he's getting criticised and everything like this. That's not going to change overnight. You know, yes, you can agree that he didn't have the best first season. But again, you can also say that that was because the manager wasn't utilising him properly. You now have a manager that is attack-minded, who's going to bring more energy to the attack, but they've not had a lot of time to work together, because unfortunately for Iraola, he's come in a World Cup year where all the players are coming back at different stages depending on how far their nations got in the World Cup. So pretty much the first time this team played together under Iraola was Sunday, because the games against Como the squads were split, because we had 2 games, one in the morning, one in the evening. The squads were split. So, you know, the first time you're actually all playing together as a squad is the first competitive game of the season. Like, you're never going to get the perfect result. It would be a miracle if you got a perfect result. So, I understand why it wasn't great, but wasn't terrible, because you're learning. But when you're learning, and you've also had a player that had to learn in his first season, now in the second season when you're expecting to get better, you've got to learn again. Like, you've got to give him some slack for that, because that's not his fault. And I'm like, is Florian Wirtz really deserving of this criticism? Or is it simply the price tag that's put on him? Is it because of his price tag? Because he came £116 million player? But that's not his fault. That's the clubs. If you're going to blame anyone, blame the clubs, because that's the fee that they agreed. Blame Leverkusen for setting such a high price tag. Blame Liverpool for agreeing to pay such a high price tag. Don't put that on the player. For me, the price tag should not affect your, what's the word? Your viewing point on the player. I don't know if that's the correct phrase. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. But I hope you understand that bit. I hope you understand what I'm trying to get across. Is that the price tag should not affect the way you see the player. Unfortunately it does. That's football for you. When someone arrives for such a high fee, you're expecting immediate results. It's just not going to happen. It's not. You have to be realistic. Football, a lot of the time, realism doesn't come into football. You're expecting immediate results. You're expecting it to be like a video game. You're expecting it to be like FIFA, where you buy a player and you control this player, and immediately he's scoring, he's assisting, he's doing all this. It's not a video game. Like, this isn't a game. These are players that are adapting to new surroundings. That's going to take time. And now he's got to adapt again to a new manager, which is going to take time. Nobody likes to hear this, but it's the truth. No one likes the truth, but it is. This is what you have to understand, is that you're not going to get immediate results. I was hoping that we won on Sunday. But the realism was, a draw was probably the fair result, because you've got 2 teams that were pretty much fairly even. I don't think it was really one-sided. You had even teams. I think if Newcastle had won it, you probably would have given them the credit for that, and when it's probably a fair result. But then when you get the draw and you look at the game again as a whole, and you look at the stats and everything like that, stats are pointless half of the time anyway, but still, when you look at them, it's a fairly even matchup, and a draw was probably the fair result. We're lacking in quite a bit. We are lacking in quite a bit, because we lost our talisman in Mo Salah. We lost a leader in Andy Robertson. We lost the centre-back in Ibrahim Konate. We've lost quite a few key senior players over the years. Every single year for about the past 3 or 4 years, we've lost a key member of the team. So, you know, when you're going through this, and you're going through big transitional changes, they take time, and we are really, really thin up front. When you looked at our bench, apart from the new boy Muniz, there was literally no one in the attacking, as like an attacking option, apart from Lewis Kumas, who he did bring on. But again, you're like, Lewis Kumas, is that what you want at Liverpool? Especially when you're trying to chase a goal. Don't get me wrong, he came on, he didn't particularly do anything great, he didn't particularly do anything terrible. It was a decent Premier League debut for him. But, again, is that what you want? Is that, like, you can tell we're thin. We need to sort this out quickly. Are we paying Barcola's money or not? Are we paying Mabea's money or not? Are we getting Minter? We also need to decide if we're going to look for a striker. Or are we basically etching our bets on Chiesa and Isak being our 2 strikers until Ekitike is fit again? Which could be December, it could be January, we don't know. Is that what we're placing our bets on? Or are we actually going to look to try and get in another striker, another option, a short-term option if need be? Are we going to look for a midfielder? Because clearly we've got an issue where all our midfielders want to go forward, and when you've got a midfielder in Gravenberg that's going forward and not shooting and giving the ball away twice, and then we're being hit on the counter twice and they're scoring, you've got issues. We've also sold a midfielder in Curtis Jones. So are we replacing that or not? These are the questions that still need answering, and there's like 8 days of the window left. What's happening? We need a lot. We need a lot. A lot needs to be done in such a short space of time that I'm not optimistic. I'm not even close to being optimistic about this. It's not a great start for Iraola. He's come in, and I understand that during a World Cup year, or during a tournament year anyway, it's very difficult to get deals done before or during the tournament, because a lot of the players that you want to sign are going to be at the tournament, and you don't want to disrupt them. You don't want to be a little bit what's the word? You don't want to be, I don't know what the word is now, but you don't want to be kind of selfish and taking their attention away from performing for their nation at a major tournament. You want to respect them and respect their countries and give them that space to perform for their nation before you try and bring them in. I understand that, but the tournament has been finished for a long time now. We're haggling over money for Barcola. If Barcola is our genuine top target, you either pay the money or give PSG a actual bar of, like, say, we meet in the middle. Are we meeting in the middle or not? We need the answer now. Are we meeting in the middle or not? If not, fine. We're going somewhere else. Because this haggling over money, this happened last summer with Mark Gay. We were haggling over money. We waited. Then deadline day came. We went, fuck it, we'll pay the money. We had him. And then then Crystal Palace pulled the plug because they couldn't get the replacement in. And you're like, are we not learning? Are we not going to learn from last summer? Where you can't keep haggling over money. You either pay it or you don't. You either set a bar and make the selling team like commit to that and make their decision very quickly, or you leave. You know, this is it gets frustrating because it seemed, again, we know we work behind the scenes because we've done 2 deals behind the scenes. Victor Muniz, who wasn't even linked, magically appeared out of nowhere right at the beginning of the summer. And then Ronald Arejo, again, not even linked, bam, he's joined. And you're like, I don't mind it. He's experienced, it's on loan for the season, and there's an option to buy if he does well. We trigger that, great, we've got our centre-back and he's already had a season on loan where, you know, next summer, if he stays, you know, there's no integration there. He's already had the year. But then you're looking at, you're haggling over money for Barcola. We put in a random bid for the Monaco winger that never went anywhere. We're bidding for Minter and we're potentially going to bid a third. We might not. Mabea is still an option. We apparently tried to get Endrick on loan or with like an option or obligation to buy, and that didn't happen. Real Madrid wanted to keep him. So it's like these deals are happening, or we are trying to do something. But I'm like, is it enough? Are you doing enough? Should you be doing more? Because we were left thin last season and we saw where that went. We can't be left thin again. Because if we do, Champions League might not be so lucky. We have to make sure that we're not thin. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it now. I think we're going to be left thin in an area. Maybe we get the 2 wingers that we want. Maybe we even add in a striker, but we're going to be left in midfield. Maybe we get the 2 wingers we want and we bring in a midfielder, but we're going to think we should have maybe added a striker. We're going to be left thin somewhere. And I don't know. You know, we've had the new investment in Jeff Bezos' consortium that has bought it's a weird one because I don't think many people know how much of a stake. First it was reported it was 30, then it was 38, and then I'm pretty sure I saw one report said that it might have even been 40. I don't know. Then there's reports suggesting that in 12 months' time they might make a full takeover and take FSG step away. We don't know what's going to happen, but we've now got a new consortium in, more money, more investment, more chances to spend. Go and use it. Like, I understand that this is new and maybe there are restrictions on how much a consortium can bring in at the start. I don't know. But go and do something. Because we're running out of time. And if we're left thin again, we are in danger of setting Iriola up to fail in his first season. And that won't be on him, that will be on the club for setting him up to fail. That can't happen. And I'm genuinely starting to worry now that this might not be the wonderful magical moment we thought it would be when Arne Slot was sacked and Iraola was brought in. And we thought, yes, we got what we wanted. Slot is gone. No more boring football. But you can only play great football if you've got the great players. And that we saw it at the start of Jurgen Klopp's tenure. Like, he tried already implementing the pressing, high-intensity football, and at the start it didn't work because he didn't have the players that wanted to do that. He didn't have the good enough players to succeed in that way, and it was looking really hit and miss for the first season, for the first few months as well. So it took time. He had to build a squad that then was ready to compete. Remember, he came in 2015 and we didn't win the first trophy until 2019. So it took time to build that, but we gave him that time. And this is where I think a lot of things in football don't really click, is you don't always give players and managers enough time to bring success. And I am really struggling to figure out how this first season under Iraola is going to go. You know, ultimately, he's following two Premier League winning managers. Like, although last season was a shambles, Arne Slot is a Premier League winning manager, and so was Jurgen Klopp. So Iraola has big shoes to fill. You know, his last two predecessors won the Premier League for Liverpool after so long of us not winning it. So he's got massive shoes to fill. And the club needs to back him. The club needs to give him the tools to operate. Because if we're left short, there's not much he can do. You brought him in because you believed that he would bring the attacking football back to Anfield. Give him the tools to do that. If you're going to keep haggling over money, if you're going to keep wasting precious time that we don't simply have over a few million, then we've got issues. We've got big issues heading into the season. And the Champions League might not come next season. You know? We were very lucky to get Champions League football last season. Very lucky. This season, we might not be so lucky. We've got 7-8 days left of this window. I'm hoping that we can get large parts of what we need done. I'm hoping that we're not going to be left disappointed, but I know we probably will be, because we'll be saying we're short in one area at least. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here because I've rambled and I've gone on tangents, and this is becoming a very long rant video that I didn't want it to be. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.